Hey everybody, Town Media Director Steve Brogan here, and it is Tuesday. So Tuesday is, in general, the day I keep or reserve for our Tyngsborough Tuesdays segment on Tyngsborough TV, where I try to bring in guests from any walk of life here in town, whether you're a resident who owns a business in town or are a resident who has a business outside of town, or a non-resident who has a business in town. Either way, I open this up for those businesses to come in, talk about themselves, tell us about what they do, why they do it, and why they chose to do things in Tyngsborough. So my guest today is the very lovely Kristen Blanchette Keegan.
Hello, Steve.
How are you? Good to see you.
You too.
So she is Kristen, you do the Keegan group, but through Laer Realty Group, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. How long have you been doing that for?
15 years.
15 years, huh? So we were just joking off camera how I've known Kristen for about 20 years now. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about it. That it makes me feel old. But
Yeah, right.
you've been doing realty for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah?
I can't imagine doing anything else.
Okay, cool. So before we get too deep into the conversation, I just want to remind everybody you can watch this show on the multitude of places we share it out to. So Facebook, on all the different pages there. And if you are watching on Facebook, feel free to chime in and ask questions. You can also watch us on YouTube if you want to watch us on our YouTube channel. You can catch us at Comcast 8 Verizon Channel 29 here in town and at tyngsboroughma.gov. And you can watch all of our live video on demand and streaming stuff. And also don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those things, it really helps us to get through all the Facebook algorithms so that everybody gets to see these things in their feeds. Because Facebook likes to squish stuff sometimes, unfortunately, as you know. Being a social media guru yourself with your realty group, you do quite a nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
So if you have questions, real estate questions, feel free to chime in as we do the broadcast. And also, if you are a business from the town of Tyngsborough, you're a resident who owns one in Tyngsborough, or you're a non-resident who has a business in Tyngsborough or work out of Tyngsborough, feel free to email me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov, and I'll be happy to add you to our list of businesses that want to come in and take part in this segment. So with that said, now let's talk about real estate. So what is going on in the current state of real estate? Because it's not normal. This is not normal real estate, is it?
No, it is definitely
I didn't think so. It's crazy town right now.
Oh, absolutely. The inventory is just incredibly low. There's absolutely very limited homes available for the amount of buyers that are out there.
Okay.
For instance, right now with single families and condos in town,
Mm-hmm.
there's only 11 properties available that are not new construction.
Really?
So, 11 homes, it's crazy.
So put it in perspective, like historically, say 10 years ago, what were we looking at? Say pre-crash.
Right.
Sorry, pre-crash.
During the crash, it would have been,
It
was crazy.
Yeah, right.
So the past 6 months, we've sold 83 single families and condos in town.
Okay.
So if you put that into perspective, the absorption rate based on how many homes are actually available,
Mm-hmm.
there's not enough supply to get us through a month.
Really?
Versus, a typical market, we definitely would have 30, 40 homes to choose from.
Okay. So my wife and I bought a house a year and a half ago, and because of the market, the way it is right now, it made it very difficult. You had to one, be ready to go. If you found something you liked, you had to be ready to go. And two, when you did find something, you had to have an offer ready, and even started getting into bidding wars and things like that. Is that still happening?
Yes.
The low inventory?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of competition. There's a lot of multiple offer situations.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to make your offer stand out. You
Okay.
have to be ready to go. A lot of sellers aren't taking home sale contingencies because they don't have to.
Which is a problem for a lot of sellers, or buyers rather. Yeah.
Yeah.
And buyers and sellers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, if you're not pre-approved, a seller's not going to look at the offer.
Okay. Well, what about too? Like if you're in a home and you want to sell, and your contingencies, I have to sell my house first before I can buy your house.
Right.
They're not looking at those either.
Very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
If your home isn't already under agreement,
Mm-hmm.
then the seller of the property that you're looking to purchase isn't going to consider your offer.
Okay.
That's typically what we're finding.
It seems like a cascade effect. Like you need to have your house ready to sell,
Yep.
but in order to have or even sold in most cases, but in order to have your house sold, you have to have a buyer who's ready to buy, who their maybe house is ready to sell. It's
a domino effect.
Yeah, domino effect, right?
Absolutely.
This is really frustrating.
Yeah.
So
No, it totally is.
I guess let's break it down a little bit. So what would you give for people who don't have a house right now who are trying to get into the market? What kind of advice would you give them in terms of buying a home?
It's a lot easier if you don't have a home to have to sell.
Okay.
You just need to have a very competitive offer.
Okay.
Making sure that you know where the comps are at and where the other properties have sold. A lot of agents are listing the properties for under market value to create that bidding war. So you want to know where the competition has actually sold and gone under agreement at, so that you can make an educated offer. And really your terms play a big effect on what offer is accepted.
Okay.
So the more money that you can put down on the property, the stronger you're going to look.
Okay. And I lost my question, but yeah. So, so then, and what would you tell folks who are in a home right now, who want to sell and get into a new home?
The best way to go about it is putting your home on the market contingent upon you finding suitable housing.
Okay.
So a lot of the buyers who are coming into the marketplace don't have a home to sell, and they may be a little bit more flexible with time.
Okay.
So they can, put their offer in and say, we'll give you 3 months to find something. And then as a seller, you feel more comfortable that you have time and you're not, going to be racing over the next 2 weeks to find the right home to move into.
Okay.
So.
Man, it's frustrating because whether you're a first-time home buyer, you're facing high values, I'm assuming, right? Because it seems like with the bidding and stuff going up, it's just bringing the prices up higher.
Oh, yeah.
How are people? Are there programs out there available for folks who are first-time buyers to get a down payment assistance and things like that?
It's really town related.
Okay.
But there's a lot of good programs through Mass Housing.
Okay.
And FHA, so that you can have a low down payment. And that's
there's Merrimack Valley Housing Partnership as well, right? MVHP. Yeah. Jim Wild's program. Okay.
Yes, they have a great program.
Okay.
But even for in town, some of the areas in town will qualify for a USDA loan.
Oh, okay.
Which is a 100% financing loan.
Interesting.
So it really helps people get their feet in the door.
What kind of stuff are you seeing predominantly as far as the types of loans people are getting?
A lot of conventional.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's some new conventional programs that only require 3% down also.
Really?
So a little less strict getting into a property than an FHA loan or a VA loan, and still the low down payment. So it's helping buyers get in the door.
But now, does that low down payment hurt when you're going to buy the house? Because like you were saying, having a good down payment can help you. Is that hurting those sales potentially?
It can. Depends on how much competition you have.
Okay.
I mean, from a seller's perspective, if you have 3 offers and one of them is 100% financing, one of them is 3% down, and then one person is doing a conventional 20% down loan, who's going to look stronger? The person with the most money in the pocket. So.
Right. That's what I was figuring.
Yeah.
Now, what about are you seeing a lot of cash purchases as well?
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of investors are still trying to come in and scoop up the properties.
Okay. So. I remember seeing a lot of signs around. You'd see them, we buy houses, those kind of things, the big yellow, goofy looking signs.
They'll buy your house for about 65% of its value.
So I was going to ask you what they're kind of trying to get it for, because clearly they're in it to make money. Yeah. And so they're not going to give you market value because you can only sell it for market value. I mean, you could probably get more, but it depends on the house.
Right.
Yeah. What about flipping? Is that still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
People are trying to find things at auction so that they can get them for really cheap and just as is to do the flips.
So the houses that end up in auction, are those like foreclosed homes, things like that?
Foreclosures.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is there a lot of that still happening? A lot of foreclosing?
We're starting to see a trend up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still, there's not even a lot of foreclosures available for sale.
Okay. So. I don't know if you can answer this, but what's driving people to not sell? Because the inventory, as you said, is really low.
Right.
What's keeping the inventory low, I guess, in your opinion?
I think people don't like that unknown of where they're going to go to. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing if you're a seller and you're relocating or retiring and moving south, you have a lot more options moving out of state. So for people staying in town or in the general area, they don't know where they're going to go. Okay. So it makes people anxious.
I can imagine. Well, I wonder, too, if they're looking and saying, well, there's nothing on the market, so there's nothing for us to buy, so we don't want to list and sell. When, like you said, it's the fear of the unknown. Like, what are we going to do?
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to start renting if you've been a homeowner necessarily, or maybe you do want to rent. I don't know, but
a lot of sellers are doing that.
Yeah.
They're selling their house so that they have the equity and can make a more competitive offer when they find the right house, and just short-term renting.
Interesting. It's an amazing study in supply and demand.
Yeah.
But it's just like the supply just can't seem to catch up. And this is, how long has this been going on for, where we've been so
It's been a couple of
supplied?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I know, I mean, I know it was happening before we bought our house. It was still going on, and we were hitting bidding wars and like walking away from houses we loved, and we were like, we just can't do it because they're just going way over asking value. You know, way over what we were comfortable with spending.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's crazy. I mean, in some houses, you're seeing offers go in $35,000 over.
Wow.
And not,
really?
And not getting it.
Really?
You know, like it's nuts.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Laer and the Keegan group for a minute.
Yeah.
Because how long have you been with Laer?
So we originally were Remax Prestige.
Okay.
And
is that company gone? The Remax Prestige name?
Prestige is gone. Yeah.
Okay. So now it's just Laer. All right. I was wondering where that went.
Yeah.
All
5 years ago.
Okay.
We rebranded as Laer Realty Partners. So I've been with Laer since inception, and I was with Remax Prestige before that for 6 years. And I worked for another company 4 years prior to that.
Okay.
So
and now you have your own sort of realty group as part of Laer. It's under Laer, but you have the Keegan group.
The Keegan group.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this. Like, how does that work? The creation of it, and
like
why?
my own little company within the company.
Okay. Is this a normal thing that realtors do? Is that?
I think it kind of is a steady progression for the busier agents.
Okay.
I've been selling over 50 houses a year on my own.
Wow.
And that's
amazing.
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
And I get a ton of leads in that sometimes I just don't have the time for. So I created the group so that I can focus on my sellers and referrals, and have the assistance with additional agents helping out and taking out buyers. And
so do those agents work for you or work for Laer?
They're working for me under Laer.
Okay. Interesting. Neat.
Yeah. It helps with the extra like buyer leads that I get when listing a property.
Okay.
So
it's basically like you have your own team of assistants that help you with the tasks that you don't have enough time to get to, or so you can focus, like you said, on the more important things, the following the leads and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Very neat.
We all have different strengths.
Okay.
Which is really beneficial.
It seems like a newer sort of tactic, because I remember before, like even a year and a half ago when we bought, it was the realtors were their own little thing unto themselves, and I don't remember any of them having any kind of teams. But now it seems like the team thing is kind of getting a little more happening a little more in these real estate agencies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I want everybody that comes to me to get A+ service. So in order to provide that, I need help.
Okay.
And, and I have 2 awesome agents. So.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. So you're also a realtor,
I am.
which is not just what the real estate part is, like think of a real estate agent,
right.
But a realtor is the R logo that you see on folks. They have usually a little gold pin with a little blue R on it. Tell me a little bit about that.
I've been a realtor for the 15 years.
The whole time, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I'm with the Northeast Association of Realtors now.
Okay.
I started with a different realtor association, but I've been with NEAR now for 11 years. And I'm actually the president-elect of the local association.
Okay, yes,
so,
I've heard this. Yeah,
yeah.
heard that this is going on. Yeah, I hear from my wife a lot.
Right.
She tells me all about it.
She's amazing.
Right,
I love Maria.
She's pretty awesome,
Yeah. I think as a realtor, we follow a strict code of ethics.
Okay.
So, I mean, my clients are the most important thing to me, and them getting the best service and the most for their homes and the best terms when they're buying. And
so
I think being involved in the Realtor Association is very important. And I love the community and everything that they have to offer, and the programs and the support and the education. A lot of agents just, get their license and do their continuing ed, and that's it. But I think that getting certifications and designations and continuing to learn is what helps us grow.
So, in essence, basically finding a real estate agent who's also a realtor is you're getting a step above the average real estate agent who isn't part of the realtor organization, because you get extra training, and you, like you said, you follow kind of a code of ethics. I've heard a bit about this, where it's quite stringent, actually.
Yeah.
From everything from how you deal with the clients to your advertising and all that stuff. There's very specific rules on how you
deal with other agents.
Well, that too, right? Yeah, how you're supposed to have ethics and not do kind of because there's some sort of dirty deeds that real estate agents can pull in order to, make sales go the way they want to and stuff like that. But this prevents all that, basically.
Yes,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Gets rid of that name,
Right, yeah. Makes it brings it up a level. It brings it up a notch to a more professional, which it should be in general anyways. Brings it up to a professional level, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So you've been doing that you've been part of that for 11 years, you said, right?
With Laer for 11
Laer for 11.
years. The other association prior to that.
Okay.
But I've been active at the Realtor Association for probably 9-10 years now.
Okay.
Serving in different capacities on committees and chairing committees. I was the first vice president last year.
Okay.
Secretary for the association the 2 prior years. I've sat on the board of directors for Laer and the Massachusetts Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
How do you manage all this? Like, I mean, being a real estate agent, you work funky hours.
Yeah.
You've got the realtor group, which you're helping out with at Laer, and then you've got a family and kids and a husband and like.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Whole lots of caffeine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They know me at Honeydew.
Yeah, I bet they do. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Do you like being a realtor?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been your most sort of exciting / rewarding part of being a real estate agent?
Honestly, right now, starting the group this year and, helping my agents grow, it's really rewarding.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking to you off camera about this too, but your advertising and your use of social media has been pretty impressive.
Thank you.
I think anyways, eye-catching. That's why I say that, because it's something that, generally like on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, most of the stuff you skip right past if you're spending any time on there.
Right.
But I got to say pretty much all of your posts, I think probably even all of them, because they all tend to be funny or have some little story with them. I stop and I at least read the text because they're funny. So tell me a little bit about this sort of integration of how social media and the sort of modern technology, we'll call it, has kind of helped real estate and helped your business in general.
I mean, you get what you put into it. I feel like we have to be funny and eye-catching to catch everybody's attention. And I want people to see our group and see good marketing and know that that's what they're going to get from us. It's definitely helping us grow. We're within the community and all around. But, I mean, Twitter and Facebook and our business pages and Google.
Yeah.
If you're not putting something catchy out there, people just scroll to the next thing.
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
You don't I want to stand out. So.
Yeah. And it makes sense because you're in a sea of fishes as a real estate agent.
Exactly.
There's so many real estate
I don't want to
agents.
be one of the 2,000 swarming around.
Right.
I want to be the one that's standing out.
Right.
I'm jumping out of the water.
Right, exactly. You're the one flipping your tail and jumping out. Yeah.
Right. Look at me.
Hey, over here. Tell me about just. I guess let's roll it back a little bit, back to the beginning, sort of where we were talking about just first-time home buyers and maybe not first-time people trying to sell a house. What kind of we talked about advice you would give to folks, right? I guess what are some of the things that people should be thinking about if they're planning? Maybe they're a year down the road, or maybe they're longer term. But what kind of stuff should people be thinking about so that they can start planning to buy a house in this market? Mind you, we're talking about this current crazy situation of houses not lasting very long.
Right. I mean, it depends if you're selling or if you're buying.
Okay.
If you're selling, you should definitely consult a realtor right away, just so that they can walk through and point out the things that will be issues for buyers or that buyers will notice. That way, if it is a year from now, you've got a punch list of things that you should address before, so that you're ready to put the house on the market.
So things like fixing things in the house, patching walls, painting
little
rooms.
Things. There's a lot of little things that you don't notice when you're living in your house until somebody points it out and you're like, oh,
odors.
Whoa. Right, yeah. So there's always some things that need to be addressed.
Right. Okay.
And then if you're a buyer and you're a year out, work on your credit, work on saving as much as possible so that you can get the lowest rate and be the strongest buyer out there.
And so that's one thing we didn't talk about was interest rates are insanely low right now.
And that's why also there's so many buyers right now because, I mean, if you can get 3.5% to 4% on a house, I mean, that gives you a lot of buying power.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's amazing how that has really held for a long time now. Like they started talking about, they're going to start going up, and they creeped up a little bit, but then they punched them right back down.
Right.
And now it's what are the average rates off the top of your head? Do you know?
3.75 is what one of my buyers got this week.
My parents bought their first house. Well, it wasn't their first house, but a while, but it was probably 25 years ago, and they had like a 15% interest rate.
Yeah, like my parents were like, the rates were 18%
Yeah,
40 years ago when we built the house.
Yeah, they're not
crazy.
that now. So, I mean, clearly the interest rates are good, but the problem is there's not enough inventory.
Right.
Is it, are realtors even suggesting that people like build houses?
Yeah.
Kind of?
It's finding land. If it's not something that's already in development, then, finding a piece of land that's actually buildable and meets zoning requirements is pretty difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you're a Tyngsborough resident. I don't think I mentioned this already, but you're a Tyngsborough resident, so you do live in town, in a beautiful part of town, actually. You have a very nice little spread over there. Yeah. We won't say where because I don't want people knocking on your doors or whatever, but how does Tyngsborough... Just
bring me coffee,
Yeah, there you go. Right. She likes honeydew. Yeah. How does Tyngsborough shape up compared to other towns around us? So Chelmsford, Westford, Lowell, Drakeit, even New Hampshire, the bordering towns, Nashua and Hudson and so on.
Inventory is low everywhere.
Yeah, it's the same
I feel
everywhere.
like it's especially low in Tyngsborough.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a really desirable community.
Yeah. Well, it's good commuting-wise. It's an excellent community for that. Yeah.
Exactly. A great community, great schools. A lot of people want to come and just have nowhere to go. So
Tyngsborough's in an interesting spot where they're trying to maintain this sort of small town feel, so they don't want it to turn into
growth,
Right. They don't want a Drakeit or a Chelmsford where it's just every corner's being built up, or a Lowell. Listen, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Right. That's way too congested.
Yeah. So, does the dynamics in the town, so politics in the town and things like that, does that play on people? Do you find people think about that at all, or do they just sort of move into a town and then learn about that stuff after?
Usually they learn about the politics after.
Okay.
Primarily they're looking for school systems and easy commutes.
Okay.
So
interesting. Yeah. And Tyngsborough schools are pretty good. We have some decent schools here. We have an excellent some of the secondary, but some of the extra stuff like the theater group, sports.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, really. Have you been to any of the THS theater, by the way?
My son is actually in Les Miserables.
That's right.
That'll be next month.
That's why I brought it up. Excellent. Yeah, very proud of our Tyngsborough High School Theater Group. Go see it. Yeah, May 4, 5, 7, and 9, I think. I'll have to go double check, but it's coming up very soon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their program's amazing, though. They always impress me.
Yeah, they do a great job over there. So those things clearly that plays into people. Schools obviously. What about taxes? How does that play into people's decisions to which town to move in, or does it?
It's not a huge factor.
Yeah.
They're looking at it by the house.
Okay.
So your taxes for a $400,000 house in town, it's not a huge variation.
Okay.
If you want to go to Lowell, it'll be a lot cheaper.
Right.
But,
yeah.
If you want the small town, you're going to pay for it.
Right. You can't have chickens in Lowell either. So.
No, you can't.
For all you chicken lovers out there. I'm one of them.
So.
You're right. You too. I love my ladies. They get great eggs from them. Right. They're fantastic. So we're going to wind this down. We've been going for about a half hour now. Let's tell folks about how they can get in touch with you. And some of the services that you offer, anything unique or anything like that, if you have any stuff to add.
Yeah, I do assist buyers, sellers, landlords. I am a certified distressed property expert also.
Oh, okay.
So,
interesting.
A lot of foreclosure and short sale properties that I work with. I'm also an accredited buyer's representative, a seller representative, and a senior real estate specialist.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a list.
Yeah.
All right.
I do a lot.
You do. Boy.
I didn't make it 15 years not doing everything. Right.
Well, so obviously experience helps, I imagine, but also having all these extra accreditations because you know how to handle all these different situations.
Right.
That makes a difference, huh?
Yeah, and it's definitely beneficial to buyers and sellers.
Okay.
You want somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you don't want
the best for you.
Which stinks because if you're a new real estate agent, we're not knocking you guys if you're new real estate agents, but it's hard because you're up against the big fish, the bigger fish who know all of these things and have all this under your belt. Yeah,
they really need to get out right away and start getting designations and taking the classes so that they know what they're doing and can best represent people.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, makes sense to me. Go with experience over not necessarily. So yeah, no offense to you guys, anyways, if you're new, but obviously, but yeah, it's just kind of how it is. All right. So how do people get in touch with you specifically?
You can call or text me anytime. 978-866-2094. Or on the web, my website is sellyourden.com.
There we go. We'll go to the website while we talk about this. There you go. Yeah, very nice.
Awesome.
Fancy. I like that house too. I could live in that house.
Yeah, right.
That's a nice house. Yeah. So there's you. All right. So I just wanted to scroll through the website real quick and just show folks. So there's her contact information if you want to check it out, and I'll post the link to her website in the description. So
awesome.
Thank you, Kristen, for coming in. I appreciate you spending some time with me and chatting about real estate. You're welcome. I know it's kind of a crazy subject. Real estate is obviously up in the air for everybody. It's kind of especially if you're in the market to buy or sell. It's hard. It's really hard. I will say that from experience. It's not an easy thing, and I'm sure coming from a real estate agent also, that's saying the same thing.
Right.
It's kind of frightening. But if you talk to a real estate agent at least, that hopefully can maybe smooth the path a little bit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we walk you through everything to make it a lot easier.
Make things easier. And that's what you want, because it's a big purchase. It's the biggest one you'll ever make for the most part, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you are a billionaire, Jeff Bezos or whatever.
The lottery.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Seriously. But otherwise, it's the biggest thing you'll ever do. So talk to somebody. Talk to a realtor. If you are interested in buying or selling. In the next, whether it's the next week or the next year or 2 years or whatever, definitely talk to a realtor, because they can at least get you on the right path so that you can get your house ready to sell or get yourself ready to buy, because there's a lot to it. Definitely a lot to it. And you got to have your credit in the right place. You got to have a down payment. That took my wife and I years just to have a decent enough down payment to buy our first house. Right. And that wasn't a very nice house. It was just kind of a beat up house, and but anyways. But yeah, talk to a real estate agent, because that will definitely help. So, great. Yeah. Kristen would be a good one. I can't necessarily say go run out and talk to Kristen, but any real estate agent, honestly, if you're ready to do this kind of thing. Now, let me ask you before we wrap up, one other thing. Do you handle rentals and stuff as well for people who aren't interested in buying at all? They just want to rent houses? Yeah? Okay. And is that just as tough a market, the rental market, as far as finding stuff?
There's definitely limited inventory with rentals also. Yeah. But I feel like it's a little bit easier.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's good. Good to know, at least. So if you're not a home buyer necessarily, you can still talk to a real estate agent about rentals and things like that. Excellent. And credit still plays into that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah. Some of the landlords are stricter than getting a loan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Wow. Oh, so good to know. So there you go, guys. So I will leave Kristen's information to her website in the description text so you can check it out. If you are a Tyngsborough-based business or a resident in Tyngsborough who has a business, contact me if you'd like to be part of this segment. This is the Tyngsborough Tuesday segment, where I hold this open for all of you guys who are business owners out there who just want to talk about what you do and tell it to the residents in town here, and that way maybe they can, shop local, as we like to say. So send me an email, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov. Also, don't forget you can watch this program a ton of different places: Facebook, YouTube, tyngsboroughma.gov, and at Comcast 8, Verizon 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough. And if you would give us a like, comment, share, or subscribe to our various social media stuff, that really helps. That way it stays in your feeds, and it also helps it to get into other people's feeds as well, so they can get some of this information on people like Kristen and other folks here in town, other businesses, and other things that are happening in town. So we try to post as much of this stuff as we can to social media and everywhere else to keep you guys informed. So thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week. I'll be back at some point later this week with some news and with the Friday wrap-up and the photo contest reveal. So all that said, guys, have a good one, and take it easy. Bye. And wrong camera. There we go.